Hey guys, Andrew from Deity Microphones, and we are back today with Steve. You forgot your name?
I needed the tiniest bit to work with. And you are? Steve.
Like that motion graphic said, this is the mailbag episode. So Steve, what is our first question?
Our first question comes from Joshua Fortuna, and he asks, going back to lav setup, I'm sure my sound mixers have those crazy toolkits. However, if I'm stuck on a low budget by myself, what is a DIY or CamOps method to hide lav mics?
First, it's what we told people. If we used your comment and it was the very, very first one, you'd be the winner. So Joshua, you just won 2 VLOVs.
Congrats, Joshua.
Congrats. Okay, so now that you've owned those VLOVs, how do you hide them?
I think I know what you're going to say.
What do you think I'm going to say? Yeah, I mean, well, think about it, right? Everything in that kit is DIY. Moleskin is DIY. Buying those like Ursa tape is DIY. All that stuff is really DIY because you cut it to exactly what you need. The only thing in those kits that are like crazy specialized is like if you have a certain lavalier and you need to buy the exact mount from like LMC or Ursa, the rest of it is all like adhesives and glue and that kind of stuff that you can just go out and buy at like your corner store.
So the answer is maybe those crazy toolkits aren't as crazy as one would first think.
No,
a lot of
they're
the
absolutely
stuff is
not crazy.
very attainable. Cool. Question number 2.
Number 2
comes from Julian Kraus. Does a lav mic sound different than a boom mic? And if yes, can you make them sound identical? I think the usage of boom mic is interesting, and we see this a lot. It's not technically incorrect, but I think you could probably elaborate a little bit about that phrase and when you would use boom mic versus
shotgun.
Yes.
The term boom mic actually refers to a microphone that you'd put on a boom pole, though ironically enough, this little radio arm is also called a boom. So technically these two microphones are boom mics, and we just also call them shotguns because that's the pickup pattern that they are. They have interference tubes. That's technically a shotgun. All of those are boom mics. So we use a lot of the same words like a lot of times in audio. We're not very creative, I've come to realize. So for this question, does a lav sound different than a boom mic? And if yes, can you make them sound identical? The pickup patterns are dramatically different. Like right now, if I were to use this and I had a lavalier, this one I've got that nice proximity effect. It's isolating just me. You probably not even heard the fact that there's cars and trains going on. Whereas the lavalier, I can guarantee is going to pick up those car noises because it's an omnidirectional microphone. So what you're going to have to do to get them to sound, quote, identical, it's probably going to have to do some kind of noise cancellation of all that background noise to mimic a directional type microphone. Now, at the end of the day, you're never going to get it 100% perfect as a proper shotgun, but you can get close.
But this isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, a lot of the times on a film set, this is good for a sound mixer because you have a feed coming from your shotgun mic and you have a feed from the lav, and then you can mix them together, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when I do sit-down interviews, I actually like to do both.
Cool. Let's hit the next one.
Okay.
Paul Donaldson asks, when shooting documentary interviews in a busy environment like a factory, kitchen, etc., is there a technique to record the background audio so you can then cancel it out in post to make the main interview audio clearer?
Yes, and that is record room tone. Because what you're going to do is you're going to use that room tone as a sample for another program or plugin, depending on if you buy the standalone or plugin version, of something called iZotope with a Z, RX7. They just did a tutorial video on their YouTube channel, link in the description below, of them getting rid of the crickets and the cicadas on The Walking Dead. But that thing is a killer plugin. And if you're going to get into sound design and do any kind of sound post, I think it's a must-have.
Sure. And Adobe Audition also has a similar, it's not as powerful, but the noise removal plugin that they have. It's a process where you can then take a noise print of sound, and then I believe it just uses like phase inversion.
You use phase inversion
to then
you
cancel
dial
out
in
that
how
sound.
much of that phase inversion do you want to add to your mix.
All right, next question is from Big Shooter 461.
I like the username.
Great video. I love the idea of immersive sound, and stereo recording is great. I'm curious, what can be done for recording in loud environments like trackside at a drag strip to capture full range with deep bass without clipping?
I think the most critical part of this is 2 elements. You're at a drag strip, so you've got drag cars going. You got to know what the SPL is. How loud are those things getting?
And what is SPL?
SPL is sound pressure levels. So how hard are those waveforms hitting your microphone in the actual physical air? Second part, without clipping. So the first thing is, how loud is a drag car? We had to do some research. It is 150 decibels. So we're talking 30 decibels louder than a rock concert. That's well over what most capsules are even capable of recording. So what you need is a dynamic microphone. And it's important also, a unidirectional dynamic. For some odd reason, we call these cardioids, hypercards, everything. But when you get over to the dynamic world, you have omni and unidirectional. So you're going to want a unidirectional dynamic microphone. Until the diaphragm practically rips, it'll continue to capture some kind of sound.
And this concept applies to things besides drag racing, right? So anything with loud, sudden noises. So if you're shooting at a gun ranges,
or yes.
Other situations, it would be the same.
Car
concept,
crashes.
Right? Car crash audio,
yeah.
Recording Foley for something like that. Something as easy and attainable as like an SM57, like a workhorse studio mic.
Yeah, an SM57 actually would be a really good microphone for this. The one that I have in my kit is a Audix i5. You may get away with like a condenser if you're like, I'm guessing further away, but I'm talking like probably pretty further away. 150, I mean, that's incredible. It's well beyond the pain threshold of a human being.
Yes, that's loud. Okay, on to the next one. Miles Dyson asks, my question is not the best, but a simple one. When recording binaural audio, is this technique viable for dialogue recording, or is this strictly a room tone or ambiance technique?
So, as terms of dialogues, binaural is not that great because it's not good at isolating the human voice, unless you are like a foot or two away, because it's really also taking in a full 360 soundscape. And that's why it really is meant for ambience, room tone, really setting the stage. If you want someone typing at a keyboard for your B-roll shot, you're also going to get Deborah and accounting down the hallway gossiping.
Right, sure.
You're not going to get just the keyboard. So a mono shotgun is still your best bet for on camera. But if you are doing something like immersive kind of videography, art projects, soundscapes, that kind of stuff, that's exactly what they're meant for.
Cool.
And that was actually 5 great questions for this episode. You should ask more questions in the comment section below. If you do, you could win a vlog. Don't forget, follow, like, and subscribe on all social media platforms at Deity Microphones. So there you go.
Thanks
I'm
for
Andrew
watching.
from Deity Microphones. Thank you for watching. It's okay. It's okay, Steve.